welcome back to our Golden 20s. My name is Tegan, and I'm joined with my co-host Sadie.
Hello.
And we have a jam-packed episode for you all today, and it's all surrounding Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Happy Valentine's Day. This episode drops right on Valentine's Day. So this is our, Valentine's Day special.
Yeah.
For such occasion.
Yep, exactly. And we, like I said, it's pretty jam-packed with just like a ton of information. We've got some answers to questions from you all that we posted on our Instagram. We've got some books to talk about. We've got movies to talk about. It's going to be a whole thing.
We even have some promo codes for you guys, which we are going to get into, but a little Valentine's Day treat, if you will, a little gift for you guys, our Galentines. So yeah, I think today's episode is going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
I'm already smiling. We haven't even started. I'm just so happy to be here, and I hope you guys are too.
Awesome. Well, do we want to start with the questions that we shared on Instagram?
Yeah, that sounds good. I feel like actually just like, I don't know, maybe we don't need to like explain ourselves at all, but I feel like something that you guys gave us as feedback for season 3 was wanting some new weekly segments. And Tegan and I were like, okay, cool. How can we do this? And what should we talk about? And I feel like we're going to try to include that a little bit more moving forward. Yeah. But this is kind of a way to kick it off, I guess. And we asked you guys on Instagram just some questions around the whole Valentine's Day theme.
Yeah.
And things we wanted to talk about anyway between Tegan and I, but it's just really fun to get your input as well. So just make sure you guys are following us on Instagram and even TikTok, because I think moving forward, we want to do more of this stuff. So we want to hear from you and make sure your answers are being included as well. So we are at our Golden 20s on all social channels. Quick plug, but that is how you can submit for next time.
Yeah, awesome. So the first question we asked was, who is your celebrity crush? And I'm pulling up your answers right now.
Yeah.
And so these were the top answers that we wanted to share. We heard Jennifer Aniston, which makes sense.
I love also they were like, for sure.
Yeah.
Jennifer. I was like, honestly, yes. Like, didn't have to think twice.
Yeah. Zachary Levi, who I don't think I know who that is, honestly.
Okay, so me being me, I didn't know who a lot of these people are because I'm just so, I don't know, out of the loop on this kind of stuff. But I looked up everybody's answers, and they're all very, very fine men.
Okay. Yeah.
Zachary Levi. At first I was like, is this a Levy? Like, am I missing?
Yeah.
Is it like Dan Levy's like brother, cousin? Am I missing? Am I missing a Levy? But I don't think so.
I do know this guy.
He's attractive, right?
Oh, he's Shazam. Okay.
Okay, check it out.
Yeah.
I'm like, that means nothing to me, but
his second like Google picture that comes up is from Men's Health, and he's jacked. So anyways, good choice.
We approve this choice. We didn't know who it was, but thank you for bringing this man into our life.
Educated us.
Yes.
We also have Colin Firth. That's another sort of classic rom-com classic staple.
Yeah.
Theo James.
So I didn't know him either. And then I looked him up and I was like, damn. Like, he was in a movie that I know was super big a few years ago. I didn't see the movie, but I was like, okay.
Yeah, he's in Divergent.
Yes, that's the one.
And most recently, he was in The White Lotus.
Yes, that was another thing. Season 2?
Yeah.
Okay, see, I need to skip season 1 and go back to season 2.
He's really good because he's like douchey guy who knows he's hot and thinks he can like get away with stuff because of that.
Honestly, looking at these Google images of him, I feel that checks out.
Yeah.
I feel they casted that well, even though I know nothing else about this guy. But
yeah,
that's
exactly.
hilarious.
Another celebrity crush that we got sent is Zendaya.
Yeah.
Again, makes sense. She's beautiful.
Yeah.
Chris Pratt, which kind of surprised me.
Yeah. I get all the Chris's mixed up. Chris Evans, Chris Pratt, Chris Hemsworth.
Pratt is attractive. I just don't like his personality.
See, but like out of all the Chris's, I feel he's no shade to this person who submitted this. I do think he's attractive.
Yeah,
But I'm
yeah.
like, compared to the other Chris's,
Mhm.
I don't think he's the top of my list.
Yeah,
But
I could see that.
yeah. He's the
He-
one from Parks and Rec.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
And yeah, he definitely, I think if you're into like cuddly guys, like
Yeah.
he's got that vibe.
Yeah. He's not like the douchey,
No,
like
different.
knows he's hot guy. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
And another response we got was Henry Cavill.
I looked that one up too.
He's Superman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He is good looking.
He is. And like, if you're Superman,
yeah,
automatic
you've got to
win.
be good looking.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. So fun. I'm learning so much because I'm so, like I said, out of the loop on the latest movies, who's trending, you know.
Yeah.
But on that note, Tag, how about you tell us about your celebrity crush? Because I already know it'll be the trendy one
Okay.
that I'm missing out on.
Yeah, well, I feel like it's hard because it's not like one person. I have like 25 crushes and
Yeah.
it changes day to day. Like,
Changes day to day. You're like, there's just so many options.
exactly. I'm just
So
falling
many-
in love all over the place. I think trendy option, Pedro Pascal,
Yes.
because he's like blown up on TikTok watching The Last of Us. I saw some of The Mandalorian and like he's fine. You don't see his face, but you know, you hear his voice and that's nice, and see his body, I guess. And yeah, so that's, I think, if we're going with trendy options, but then there's just like the classics like George Clooney or Timothy Chalamet, or I don't know. There's a lot.
I feel you need to tell the listeners about when you saw George Clooney in person, because I
Yeah.
think that's what really sold you
Mm-hmm.
on George Clooney.
Same with Timothy Chalamet too. I
Yeah?
didn't used to think he was attractive until I saw him in real life, and I was like, oh no, I get it. Like that's a beautiful person.
Yeah.
Like objectively, it's like that's guy's art.
yeah. He
um,
has that vibe.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, I saw George Clooney at his film premiere, and it was the only time where like I walked the red carpet as he was doing an interview. So I walked kind of beside him. And it's the only time where I could tell that every single person was like drawn to him. Like it was like you could feel his charisma in the air. And he did a Q&A, and it like he nailed every answer. Like he was just so effortlessly charismatic.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was like, this guy could probably sell anyone anything. Like he's just killing it. And so it's not even looks. Like obviously he's a very handsome man.
Yeah. And
But-
like gets better with age.
Yes.
Which like
Yeah.
that's a blessing. But
Yeah. And so I don't know. He just was like a movie star.
yeah.
Like I've never seen, I don't know, like Tom Cruise or any other like A-listers. He's probably like the most famous person that I've seen in real life. But it was like, wow, this guy.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
Like-
exactly. But it wasn't in a douchey way.
Yeah.
That's what made it, I think, so special. That he was like, I know that I'm funny. I know that I'm handsome. I know that I'm killing it. But like,
That's
You're
just who I
welcome.
am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I guess I can also mention Harry Styles because he's
Mm,
also a babe.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's my long list of crushes.
Yeah.
What about
we
you?
love that. We love that all so much. I feel mine, I don't know, because like I said, I'm so out of touch with like what's trendy and like
Mhm.
I don't know. I feel like things also move so fast that by the time
Yeah.
I like watch The White Lotus or whatever, people are on to the next thing,
Yeah,
you know? So
sure.
I don't know. I have a hard time keeping up with the obvious answers or like the cool answers, but I would say probably the first one that comes to mind for me is Michael B. Jordan because obviously.
Mhm.
And I remember like 2 years ago or whatever, was it 2 years ago? I think it was through the pandemic. He like hard launched his girlfriend on
Okay.
Instagram and the whole internet was like, oh shit. Like
we missed it.
we missed out.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I felt that one to my core. I might have unfollowed for a bit and then no, I'm just kidding. But he is the first one that comes to mind. I just
Mhm.
love him. And I think he's an amazing actor.
Yeah.
I say that when I have very limited, like I don't watch all his movies. I've
Right,
seen
right.
like 2, but
Yeah.
still. And then the other one that comes to mind, again, obvious, is Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
I feel like him, of course he's attractive, but
Mhm.
it's also his personality
Yeah.
for me, where I'm just like, he's literally just everything I've ever looked for in a man. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
but
I love his press tours. Like
yeah.
every time he has a movie, I'm like, yes, I'm gonna have so much YouTube content to
Yes.
watch.
Like, I don't even know how to describe it or why I love him. I just do. But I feel people are like, we get it. You don't have to
Yeah,
explain it. We get
exactly.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw Ryan Gosling in real life at one of his film premieres, and he was very shy. Like,
See,
wouldn't
that's
answer
what
a
I kind of
question.
like.
Yeah, it was like a different vibe. And he was like good looking and not like sometimes when you see people in real life, you're like, oh, they're really skinny and they look
Right.
like ripped. He
Right.
looked like how you expected, but he like didn't want to talk, wanted like everyone else to, was just shy. So that's
I
all I
kinda
got
like
about
that.
him. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like, of course, here's me making this like really realistic, but I'm like, I think that's what I need.
Yeah.
Because for a man. Because for me, I'm just like so bubbly and talkative and blah, 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 you know, where I'm like,
Yeah.
I feel my partner needs to be an opposite. So
Yeah.
I think Ryan Gosling has kids and, you know, is
Yeah,
in
I
a
think so.
relationship, but Ryan, hit me up. I think in our case, opposites will attract.
Yeah.
But next question we asked you guys, kind of going from all these actors and film things we were just talking
Mhm.
about, the next question's all about fave rom-com. And I love this question for Valentine's Day
Mhm.
because I feel like if you're in a relationship or not, it's the best night to just like stay in, drink red wine, eat
Mhm.
popcorn, and turn on a rom-com. Like unapologetically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No shame. It's cheesy and you're going to love it. So I think before we get to your guys' answers, maybe we can talk about ours because
Okay.
mine, both of my celebrity crushes relate to the movie. So probably number one on my list is Crazy Stupid Love.
Okay.
And I just love that movie.
Yeah.
Like when it came out, my mom and I saw it in theaters together. And I've been talking about my mom so much on this podcast, and she
That's
listens.
nice,
So
yeah.
hi, mom. And I think actually she's like, you talk about your family so much on the podcast. Like Tegan's not talking about her mom. I'm like, I don't know. But anyways, it just always comes up. Anyway, so my mom and I saw this in theaters. And I just remember we were like, what? At the plot twist at the end. Like we
okay.
did not
Yeah.
see it coming. Like, I don't know. And it was also during like Emma Stone, like peak time where I was obsessed with
love
her.
Yeah.
Ryan Gosling, Steve Carell. Like it was just a fire cast. And I
Mhm.
just love that movie. And it gets me kind of like, I don't know. Actually, it gets me like hyped up to date.
Okay. Yeah.
And then the other movie I was going to mention also gets me hyped up to date. I was just telling Tegan about it last night. But that awkward moment,
Mm-hmm.
that is,
I haven't seen it.
you need to see
Yeah.
it. It's Zac Efron. It's also like star-studded cast. Is
Mhm.
that the word? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Zac Efron, Miles Teller, who also should be a celebrity crush because come on. And then Michael B. Jordan, who of course love that. But it also gets me like so fired up to date. That one's like a rom-com and like chick flick, but from like the guy's perspective, set in New York. Like
Love it.
you can't go wrong. It's so good. But I think those are actually, no, hold on. My third one, sorry, now that I'm just talking, I'm like, let's just keep talking.
Yeah.
My third one's probably also Hitch with Will
I haven't
Smith.
seen that either.
What? Tegan? Oh my gosh. Okay, you have to watch all of those.
Yeah, I only saw Crazy Stupid Love because I went to your house once and I was
And
like,
we
oh, I've
watched
never
it?
seen this. And you were like, well, it's playing now.
Oh
like,
my God.
get ready.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's going to happen with the other ones as
Okay.
well because they're not, you know, TIFF
Yeah.
films critically
That's
acclaimed,
fine.
but they're good.
Yeah.
But Hitch is another good one. But again, I'm just having this self-discovery moment where it's all these movies are set from the guy's perspective. Like
Oh,
Hitch, it's the
interesting.
same thing.
Yeah.
He helps men find girlfriends
Yeah.
and like relationships. And I think they're all set in New York, I guess. Not Crazy Stupid Love, but interesting that they're all from the guy's
Yeah.
perspective, and that's what I seem to like. But
Hmm.
those are my three
Love
picks. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like mine are going to be douchey film major answers, but
That's fine.
we're just going to
We're
have
leveling
to
it
accept
out. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, so
I've probably not seen any of yours.
I would be surprised if
Okay.
you had. I feel like most people haven't, but that's life. So one of my favorite movies of all time is a movie called It Happened One Night, and it's considered the first ever rom-com.
Okay. It
That's-
sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's like a big
Like a
movie.
classic,
It's
I feel.
Clark Gable stars in it. Like
Okay.
very famous. Frank Capra directed it. And yeah, it's the first ever rom-com. And I don't know, like Clark Gable he's kind of like George Clooney energy. Like it's an old Hollywood leading man, like charisma. And he's basically, I don't know. If people are interested, you can look up the synopsis, but it's just so good. It's so funny. And it like gives me butterflies watching it.
Ooh.
Like it's one of those. And they're like enemies to lovers. And yeah. So I wanted to mention that. Another rom-com I wanted to mention is To Have and Have Not, which is another black and white movie, and it's starring Lauren Bacall and Humphrey Bogart, and it's actually where they met and they started dating after that and then got married.
Okay.
So it's like their, I don't know, like chemistry is insane because it's actually them falling in love. And she was supposed to have like a much smaller part, but they just kept extending her role more and more because they were like, wait, this is some good film. And yeah, it's got like a lot of classic lines and the fashion's fabulous, but
that one too, not seen it, but I've definitely heard of it.
Yeah, so it's also like overshadowed by Casablanca because they came out at very similar times and Casablanca is like considered classic, but I like it more than Casablanca. And the third movie is the movie Harold and Maude, which is what I've named my cats after, and it's
so cute.
Yeah, it's another one that like when I'm watching it, I'm like, I feel like I'm falling in love watching this, and it always makes me cry. And yeah, it's about a young guy who keeps trying to commit suicide, but he can't for some sort of magical reason, and then he meets this older lady who's like the opposite. He's obsessed with death, she's like obsessed with life, and then they fall in love even though he's like 18 and she's 80. And yeah, but it's another good one. And then yeah, I named my cats after it, even though they're brother and sister, not boyfriend and girlfriend,
but that's fine.
Yeah,
minor detail.
Yeah. Exactly.
So good. Okay, well there you go, guys. There's our recs or our faves from you guys. Here were some answers. First one was Friends with Benefits, which Justin Timberlake, Mila Kunis.
I saw it, I think, when it came out. And that was the last time.
That one too, I watch all the time. Like, it is a good one. I think that's one of like the last good rom-coms that came out. Like, then they kind of just started, because after that one, No Strings Attached came out, and that was like same idea, but not as good. But yeah, I like that one a lot. Yeah. Ooh, the next one that was submitted, She's the Man. That's like, that was my favorite movie for so long. Like,
yeah,
I love it so much. Amanda Bynes, again, peak. It was so good. 4 Weddings and a Funeral.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know that one.
It is British. Hugh Grant's in it. I've actually never seen it.
Oh. When you said Hugh Grant, I'm like, okay, actually.
It was like during he had like a decade where he was just killing it in every rom-com. It was during that time, like when he had the flippy hair and like Bridget Jones's Diary and Notting Hill. It was all in that same era.
Okay. Love it. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
I've never seen that. It's blowing up on TikTok right now, though. Yeah.
It is. I have seen it. I think I went a long time thinking I had seen it, and then I turned it on like maybe right before the pandemic or at the very beginning of the pandemic. And I was like, wait, I don't remember this at all, but I definitely know it now. And it is a good one. I don't know though. I don't know if it's my favorite, but I will watch it over and over again. So yeah. Who knows? 10 Things I Hate About You.
Oh, I love that
That's
movie.
a good one. Yeah. Again, I think I've only seen it once, but I was like, this is good.
Yeah, it's classic.
Yeah. The Ugly Truth.
Katherine Heigl. Yeah, see, I saw that when it came out, but it's been a long time. We were like in high school, I think.
Yeah.
I feel like we maybe saw it together.
I was thinking that too.
Was it our friend Jessica's birthday party or something that we all went to the theater? I can't remember.
I feel like we also saw The Bounty Hunter all together, which was that also Gerard Butler? No.
That's Jen Aniston, isn't it?
Yeah. But why was I
All these
getting that mixed up?
movies
Yeah.
like run together. I have no idea.
But it's so good. Okay, and then we have two more, When Harry Met Sally and You've
Oh,
Got Mail.
oh, yes.
Both Meg Ryan
Yeah.
classics. Absolutely.
When Harry Met Sally. I should have mentioned that. That's a great movie.
Yeah, it is. And that was another one where I was like, oh yeah, I like that movie. Then I watched it and I was like, actually, I don't think I've ever seen this movie.
Yeah.
But it's good. And it's like cozy
Yes.
and it's good.
Mm-hmm.
And You've Got Mail, actually same vibe where it's like that is classic cozy.
Yeah,
like,
both autumn movies.
Yeah.
For sure.
New York again. We love it.
I guess another great rom-com is Before Sunrise. That's Ethan Hawke, young Ethan Hawke. And it's really, really good.
I think you've told me to watch that a few times and I still haven't.
It's like he meets a girl his age on a train and he's flying out of Vienna the next morning, but he's like, I don't have enough money for a hotel, so I'm just going to walk around the city. Would you want to get off the train and just like walk around with me? Because it'll make a good story. And so it's just them walking around and talking and like falling in love. And they've done like a follow-up movie 12 years later and a third one 12 years later. So it's like you see their whole relationship. I don't know.
That sounds very cute.
Yeah, it is cute. Especially like if you're, I don't know, I'm picturing like a sick day and you're like, I just want to stay on the couch. You could watch like all three.
Like set up camp.
Yeah.
Yes. Love that.
Yeah. I guess Call Me By Your Name too is another good modern rom-com. That's Timothée Chalamet and Armie Hammer.
I don't know that one.
And it's in Italy.
Okay.
So it's like Italian romance.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, what I was going to say was I feel like I heard or recently read how they're trying to bring rom-coms back because especially through COVID when all the movies like big movies were delayed, they prioritized like the Marvel movies and like all these
Top
big
Gun and,
all the big movies that are more like action-y because that's typically what does better for like box office sales, whatever. So they're just starting to bring rom-coms back, but I'm like I only watch rom-coms, hence why I was saying all the movies I was saying and Tegan saying all the ones she saved because she clearly watches way more movies and has a film degree. But I'm like, no, rom-coms are where I play. But anyways, I'm like, okay, now I feel personally responsible that I have to go see every rom-com that comes out in theaters to ensure they keep making it. Like for the girls, come on, let's go.
Yeah. I'll usually see them. Like I saw Ticket to Paradise. I
didn't see that one. Oh my God.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
George
like exactly
Clooney.
what you'd expect.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing with rom-coms. Like I saw Marry Me and it's like, you're not going to get Citizen Kane or Casablanca, but like, are you going to be mad that you spent $10 on a movie ticket? Like, no, you had fun for 2 hours. You had a little escape. So
yeah,
I'm doing my part. It's basically what I'm trying to say.
When Ticket to Paradise came out, I was like, I'm going to see this like first big rom-com, like again, a huge star cast. And then I meant to go with my sister when I went to Montreal in October. Then we totally forgot about it. Then I came home and was like, hey, no, I have to go. Then I forgot about it. And then next thing you know, it's not in theaters anymore. I was like, damn. I had such good intentions. But anyways.
Awesome. And then the last question we asked was favorite romance book. And so the answers we got were The Princess, which I've never read, Love and Other Words, which has been on my to be read list for a long time. So now I'm like, maybe I should do it.
Yeah,
so someone
bump
said
it up on the list.
Yeah, Pride and Prejudice, which is a classic. Actually, another great rom-com movie. Maybe not just rom. And someone said very controversial, but the After series, question mark, which I haven't read any of those.
Me either. I'll have to
Are
look
those
it up.
Colleen Hoover? Hold on, I'm looking this up. Or am I getting mixed up?
I don't know.
Oh, no, they're not. Wow, this is a big series.
It's like
by Anna Todd. I haven't even heard of these.
Me either. Okay.
Why are they controversial? Oh my gosh.
Maybe, is it like Bridgerton type where it's like...
They are very steamy covers.
Ooh, all
happening.
right.
Like people are kissing.
So steamy.
Interesting. I will have to look into
Yeah, we're
those as
both gonna look it
well.
up. On the topic of steamy, my sister submitted her answer as the Crescent City fantasy series.
Okay.
She said it was big on TikTok last year, I think,
Mhm.
but she's like, those are they're not like romance, they're fantasy, but
Okay.
she said there's romance and they're very, very steamy.
Spicy
Yeah.
pepper emoji.
Yeah.
Interesting. Do you have a favorite
Another series.
romantic book?
Yes. And this is maybe also controversial, and I don't know how you feel about it, but Daisy Jones and the Six.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that. I don't know. I feel like that's just my favorite book that I've read recently,
Mm-hmm.
period. Maybe ever. I wasn't a huge reader up until recently. And again, I pretty much exclusively read romance type books or like, yeah, I guess. So that's the first thing that comes to mind. I also really enjoyed Book Lovers last year.
Yeah.
My sister also mentioned that as an
Yeah.
honorable mention. But I think in both of those, I don't know why I like them so much. Like Daisy Jones and the Six, it's just like I was really wanting them to fall in, like end up together. Oh, plot twist. Oh God. Not plot twist. Spoilers. Yeah. I don't know. But I'm also very excited for the Daisy Jones and the Six series to come out. I hope they don't butcher it. I don't think they will, but
yeah.
anyways, yeah. And Book Lovers, I don't know. Again, I don't know why. It wasn't steamy, but it was a little moment.
I really like
that
that
I was
too.
into. Yeah. But those are the only ones that really come to mind for like standouts.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, the one that came to mind was Book Lovers. I did like Beach Read. Also like all the Emily Henry books. Book Lovers is probably my fave, followed by Beach Read, then People We Meet on Vacation. But I just like the way she writes her characters. They're very like sarcastic and witty.
Yeah, they feel real. Like,
yeah,
this
and
could
it's
be
a
my
fun,
friend.
quick read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I forgot about Beach Read. That one was also pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
that was
I like
what
Book Lovers more.
It was like one of the first books that like got me back into reading because I read it so fast. And then I was like, oh yeah, I forgot you could just like read books like this.
And then you gave it to me.
Oh,
and then here we both are on this reading journey because Emily Henry, she came through for us, got us, reconnected us to reading. Love that.
Awesome. And then I think speaking of books, we wanted to mention that we got sent some of the Penguin Random House's book club books for the month of February, and they're Valentine's themed. So we got sent all of Jane Igaro's books. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right.
Yeah. And I feel like too, I think it's great because she's a Black author. And I think Black History Month's happening through February. Like the stars are aligning all across the board for these books. So if you guys are looking for a book to read, we're going to share the titles and a quick synopsis and maybe add them to your TBR if they sound interesting to you.
Yeah, we haven't read them yet because we just got sent them, but I am planning on reading it so I can report back.
Yeah, and Tegan's heading to Mexico soon, so she's like, taking these.
Beach read.
Yeah, I feel like they'll be the perfect vibe for that.
Awesome. So the first book we got sent is Where We End and Begin, and the synopsis is star-crossed lovers get a second chance at romance when they're reunited at a wedding.
Ooh. We love that star-crossed lovers.
Yeah.
This one, I think I read that this was her first book, and it's called Ties That Tether. And the brief synopsis is when a Nigerian woman falls for a man she knows will break her mother's heart, she must choose between love and her family.
Ooh.
We're reading these so dramatically, but this sounds dramatic.
Yeah. And then the last one we got sent is called The Sweetest Remedy. And its synopsis is when a woman travels to Nigeria to attend the funeral of the father she never knew, she meets her extravagant family for the first time, finds a new and inspiring love interest, and discovers parts of herself she didn't know were missing.
I love this. I feel like all these are going to be good because they have like the family dynamic. Then they have the relationship. Like, you can tell they're going to be juicy and like
Definitely.
Good. So great. Well, we
Yeah.
can report back on what we think,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, some other recs to add to your TBR.
Yeah. Thanks to Penguin for sending them.
Hooking us up.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of hooking us up, we are going to hook you guys up with some coupon codes, which is the first time we've ever done this. But we're coming in with a splash, if I do say so myself, because the two companies we have codes for are perfect like self-care or like
Mm-hmm. Valentine's Day
Valentine's.
adjacent.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll also put the codes in the show notes of this episode as well, so you can reference them anytime. And they're not like limited time codes or anything. Like they're always on. But the first one's from Maude. And Maude is a modern sexual wellness brand created to simplify sex with body safe essentials like vibrators, condoms, lubricants, and more personal care goods. So we have 10% off for you guys using our code Golden20s, all caps. So check that out. I feel they have good stuff. Tegan's used the candle they have.
Yeah.
I've used
I'm
some
like
of
obsessed with them because Dakota Johnson, I think, is one of the founders, and we all know I'm obsessed with her.
We are on the podcast in general.
Yeah, it's all very like aesthetic. Like the whole idea around it was like, instead of making, sexual wellness items tacky and like something you want to hide away, the point of all of these items is it's like you could have it out on your bedside table or like on your dresser in your bedroom, and it wouldn't be like weird.
Yeah, definitely.
And they've got like bath soaks and
I was gonna say I've used the bath. I think you got me the bath salts.
Yeah.
And then I think I got another bath product from them, but they're just very luxurious feeling. And like you said, the packaging's luxurious and aesthetic. So it's just like cultivates a vibe instantly.
Yeah.
And you need that on Valentine's Day, man.
Exactly.
Treat yourself. Yeah. The second code we have for you guys is for a company called Parade, and you get 20% off your purchase with our code OurGolden20s. And again, we'll put it in the show notes, but Parade is a underwear, loungewear. They have also like apparel, like clothes you can wear out too, like bodysuits and stuff, but they're supposedly seamless, smooth, comfortable, and also they say they're made from recycled fabrics and use eco-friendly packaging, so they're on a little bit of a sustainability mission here, but they also are all about inclusivity, which I really love. They're size inclusive, their models are diverse, and body types are diverse. Like, they just seem like really great company. So I just placed my first order. Definitely will keep you guys posted on what I think. But if you're wanting to check it out for yourself, like I said, I feel like that'd be such a good self-care package to order yourself for Valentine's Day. Use our code, get 20% off, and let us know what you think.
Yeah, and we will put all this information with links directly to their stores in our show notes, so that if you're interested in checking any of that out, you can click the link.
All right, guys. So now let's get into the meaty part of the episode, which is all about the best dating advice I've been seeing on TikTok. Okay, so this is me scouring the internet, writing notes, because I think TikTok's the best and the worst, where it's like an overload of information at all times. But I just so happen to have landed on Single Talk, and I've been getting all the dating advice that I've been like, okay, let's implement this into my life, but also let's not gatekeep and let's share it with the podcast listeners. So I'm so excited for this. I feel like I've already kind of talked about this on the podcast, but I feel like dating is a focus for me this year. And I feel like all this advice really helped me form a dating strategy. That's what I'm calling it. And it was so funny because I was talking to one of my friends on the phone a few weeks ago, and she was like, girl, this is the year I meet my husband. And she listens to the podcast. So this is also me speaking this into existence for her, because I was like, yeah, it is. And she was like, yeah, I came up with this dating framework. And I was like, shut up. I came up with a dating strategy. So we started talking about it, and like we were pretty much on the exact same page and thinking the exact same things. So it was also nice to get her to validate validate this episode and everything that is part of her framework / my strategy / the best advice if dating is also important to you this year.
Love it.
So the first thing is something I have seen on TikTok, but I also think it was what my sisters both did right before meeting their boyfriends.
Okay.
And it's also a great journal prompt, but it's getting very clear on who and what you're looking for. And I think I just read a whole book about manifesting with the moon cycles, and it's like set your new moon intentions. Like this is the perfect time to like, get crystal clear on what you're looking for. So why not use the power of the new moon and just do a little journal sesh about who and what you're looking for? So if you're not a journaler, I feel you can even do this like on a scrap piece of paper or in your notes app, but essentially you just want to get super clear with who this person is that you're looking for and what your ideal relationship feels like and looks like. And I think when you're doing that, it's maybe listing out this person's personality traits and, like I'm looking for somebody who can make me laugh and has a sense of humor and like can be goofy or whatever. Could also be their values, their interests, their hobbies. Even you could go as far as like what they physically look like and, getting very specific. And I feel like it's funny because we always talk about setting goals and like getting specific and really envisioning it for yourself, where it's like this is actually kind of doing the exact same thing, but you're just describing a person. So I think that's a great place to start. I also think when you're listing this out, I think it's important to also list how they make you feel. Like they could check all these boxes, but if they make you feel totally like shit, like that's not the person for you, So I think that would also be a great lens to take to it. For me, like the first things that came up were like, I want to feel like safe and loved, but I also want to feel like sexy when I'm with this person. And I want to be able to be goofy and comfortable. Like those are all over the place, but those are all the ways I want to feel in this relationship. So that's the first thing, to set yourself up for success for your month, year of dating.
Love it. Yeah. I think that makes sense.
I think where I've gone wrong in the past is writing this out and then doing absolutely nothing with it.
Right.
Where I'm like, okay, I did it. I'm manifesting.
Yeah.
And then I just sit at home and then I'm like, oh, why haven't I met him yet? And I think, even when dating burnout hits, like it's common for that to happen. But I think we need to also be putting in the work once we know who this person is and what we're looking for and, all of that. So there's two parts to this. And I think the first one is, of course, the dating apps. And what's funny about dating apps is I feel like people now are like, nobody really wants to meet people on dating apps. Like, if you were to ask people, how do you want to meet your future boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, I don't think anybody's going to be like, I want to meet them on a dating app. If there's other options, aka meeting people in real life or like being set up or anything like that, I feel like almost everybody would choose that option over the dating apps. But the dating apps are easy and the most convenient and the like best way, I guess, to meet people. Yeah. And easiest way. So if you're going that route or if you're, wanting to start there, I think doing a dating app refresh or reset is a great way to start. And why I say this is because actually I was just telling Tegan last night, I was, feeling all inspired after this chat with my friend. I go into my Hinge and my dating preferences were what they were when I first signed up for the app.
Right.
So like my age range, I was looking for people like 24 to 28. Meanwhile, I'm 27 and I was like, why are all these guys so young? Like what is happening? That's why. So I updated it and now it's actually aligned to what I'm looking for and like frames who this person is that I described in my journal entry and, all of that. So I think that's part of it, updating your preferences, but then also updating your profile. And I say this because I don't know. I've been seeing a lot of TikToks that are like rate my Hinge profile or rating other people's Hinge profiles. And people actually like have businesses off this being like, pay me money and I'll give you feedback on your Hinge profile to make it better.
Right. Yeah.
Like this is a thing.
Yeah.
And I do think your profile is important. But on that note, updating it if you haven't updated in a while. So if you're someone who colors your hair all the time.
Yeah.
If you cut your hair and all your pictures are when your hair was long, like make it an accurate representation of who you are now and who these people are going to be meeting and going on dates with. And also just but refresh your prompts and make sure they're actually capturing your personality and are just up to date, you know? I think that's kind of maybe underrated. Also on the picture front, making sure your pictures aren't from 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I think we also fall in traps like that where it's like,
this is such a good favorite.
Yeah, this is such a good photo, but then it's like, well, that was from pre-pandemic and you were 5 years younger than you are right now.
Yeah. 100%.
And on the apps too, I think a big thing that I've been seeing on TikTok is like no pen pals. And I love that so much because it's so easy to just start asking all your questions because you want to bond with this person before going on a date. But then you just turn into being so comfortable texting that you don't even go on a date. You don't even meet them in person. And then you maybe do meet them in person and the vibe is off. Like you got so excited. You know, it just, it's not great. So I was also chatting to my friend about this, being like, okay, let's talk about part of our strategy being how do we like convert people from the dating conversation the dating app conversation to an actual date. And a lot of TikTok advice is like, don't overthink it. Like send a few messages, be like, you know, talk about something on their profile and then be like, let's go out, you know, be the one to initiate it. Don't wait for them to initiate it, which I think I've fallen guilty to a few times. And then they just never ask. And then I just am like, well, I guess this is just what we are, pen pals. It is what it is. But no, it doesn't have to be that way. So I think that's great is just a few messages, this is key. Save all the big questions for your actual date. Like talking about work, talking about their family, where they grew up. You don't need to know all that from the dating app prior to going out with them. You know, you just need a vibe check on the app and then go out with them.
Yeah, 100%.
The last piece on the app before we get into the juicy part, which is how to meet people in real life, because this is where like TikTok's been blowing up right now. But on the dating apps, I think another thing is like changing up your strategy. Like for me, once your profile's updated and your preferences are updated, I think it's also kind of like I was just saying, changing up your strategy in terms of just a few quick messages and then being like, hey, let's arrange a date. That could be just changing up your strategy, but it could also be I fall into habits of just liking people's pictures rather than like actually responding to their prompts. So like change things up because I think it's easy to just hate the apps automatically without actually giving them a real chance. You know what I mean? And I've definitely fallen guilty to that, but it's like if I'm actually putting in the effort of matching with people who I actually think, you know, meet who I'm looking for or whatever, and then put an effort to have a conversation, then put an effort to organize a date and like meet them in person. You're actually setting yourself up for success and like actually trying. So I think just changing up what you typically do and seeing what works is also a great thing to do. Part of this too for me was if I matched with a whole bunch of people, sent out messages and they haven't replied, I'm just going to unmatch and like clear the clutter. You know, like I think that's not something I saw on TikTok, but that's just something that's worked for me where I'm like, okay, and it becomes less daunting because when I'm opening the app, it's only people I'm having conversations with rather than, you know, just like a whole bunch of people that don't, or like old matches. I'm like, let's just clean it out and keep this easy. So that's actually another thing I did with part of my reset was I went in and unmatched with everybody who I had previously matched with because I hadn't been on the apps for like months. So I was like, this is all outdated. I'm not talking to these people, so I'm just going to unmatch and start fresh. So definitely recommend that for you guys as well. Okay, but like I said, the next part is the juiciest part and the part everybody wants to crack, and that is how to meet people off the apps and actually meeting them in real life. And it's so funny because it's not actually that funny, but I think back to my college roommate and she was somebody who just everybody was attracted to. Like she has the craziest stories and she would always come home and tell me, all these stories. She had a really long commute when we lived together. So she would come home and be like, guess what happened to me on my commute today? And she just literally had people come up to her and just say the most crazy things like, I think you're the woman I'm supposed to marry.
Oh,
And
God,
she's
yeah.
like, who are you? Like, what? She just had like crazy stories like that. And I remember her saying to me, you literally just need to like look at people and smile.
Yeah.
Like, that's as easy as it is. And for her, she took the same commute every day, the same route.
Yeah.
So she started running into the same people every day at the same times who also had the same commute as her. And it just became easy for like her to be
Yeah.
approachable if she was looking at them smiling, said hi, good morning, whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember her saying that to me, and I was like, what's funny is I'm somebody who, even if my friends see me in public, they probably won't come over and be like, hey girl, what's up? Because I'm just not an approachable person. Like when I'm out, I am on a mission to do whatever I'm doing. If it's going to the grocery store, even my like leisurely days where I'm like, I'm going to go walk around the mall, I'm going to get a coffee, a little solo date. I very much have a destination in mind.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm like rooting my day around. But then I become that I'm on a mission, heads down, and I'm not approachable.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm so bad for that when I'm by myself. AirPods in, I'm on my phone, and nobody's going to come over and just be like, hey, like chat it up, because you're not showing that you're open to that experience. So I think that's the biggest thing actually, is just being mindful of what you're doing and what vibes you're putting out there when you are going out. Because I think even when you're going out with your girlfriends or just a group of friends to a bar on a Friday night, I think that's where every rom-com movie starts, you know, and you see them from across the room, you make eyes and they come over, then you go on a date. Like that's how it happens. And that feels so far-fetched. But it's like, it's not. Like if you go to a bar with, say, 5, even 3 of your friends or a bigger group, and you're all just sitting at a table, chatting amongst yourself, nobody's going to come over and just be like, hey, you know, strike up conversation. Or it takes a lot more guts to do that. So I think that plays into the approachability part too. And a big way you can do this is by putting yourself out in these situations. And again, changing up your strategy, changing up how you do things. So maybe instead of you going out with your group of friends, getting a table, maybe you sit at a bar. Tegan and I did that last night and it was so fun. You know, like it's a different vibe at the bar than at a table.
Yeah.
And if you're not into, you know, drinking, you don't want to meet a person at a bar, go to coffee shops and just go there to work, or co-working spaces. And my friend was very specific on this. She's like, find places with communal tables, because it's the same thought as a bar. You know what I mean? Where it's anybody can sit beside you rather than have to come over to your table. And I think this is actually way easier because for me, I was thinking about things in my current routine that I could do outside of my house. So when I do that, I'm putting myself out there to meet people like in different scenarios. And if you, again, are going to the same places multiple times, you might run into people whom you see over and over again or whatever, have a similar routine to you, or just have common interests with you as well. If it's the coffee shop you're at, you both like Starbucks, great. That's maybe not a good example, but you know, it just brings kind of like-minded people-ish together. But on the whole co-working thing, or not co-working, sorry, co-working space / coffee shop, as it's like, if I were to say every weekend, for instance, I work on our podcast social. And usually I sit at home and do it with Sex and the City on my TV, and it's a great time. But it's like, it would be so easy to just pack up my computer and put myself out there, because even if I'm not meeting somebody, it's at least giving me a chance to, you know, it's at least giving the universe a chance to, versus just sitting at home by myself doing this work. So I think that's a great way to look at it, is you need to put yourself out there if you're actually wanting to meet somebody in real life, and then you need to be approachable while you're out there. So kind of two-pronged, but I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's simple. Like, you're telling me I just have to go out, make eye contact.
Like, smile.
I guess, exactly. Making eye contact, I feel, can be uncomfortable. And I know that's not something I do with complete strangers often. So it might take practice, but I think it's just something great to be mindful of. And outside of bars, coffee, and that sort of thing, it could also be finding a new hobby, signing up for classes. And we talk about this all the time for how to meet friends and find a community in a new city, or maybe a city you've lived for a while, but you're just feeling lonely. I think that can also be a great way to meet, like I said, like-minded people.
Yeah.
In a romantic sense as well. So that's key. And again, my friend, she should just be here with me for this episode. But she was also like, it's also important that the things you're doing and you putting yourself out there are activities and things you want to do and you're actually going to enjoy doing. Because if you're going with the only intention of meeting somebody there, you're going to feel disappointed
if it doesn't happen.
Exactly. If that meet cute doesn't happen from all these rom-coms we were talking about. So if it's something that you're actually interested in or wanting to do, you're leaving it still filling your cup somehow, if you meet somebody or not. So I think that's also really important. You're kind of doing it for you as much as you're also hoping you'll meet somebody there.
Yeah, for sure.
And also on this note, I think it's also saying yes a lot more. I think I fall into habits of this where if I'm going out a lot, or I don't know, I think everybody goes through those phases where it's just like, this is my month to hermit. I'm tired.
Yeah.
It's especially
so
in the
much
winter.
easier to just stay at home.
Yeah,
relax.
totally. But if you are wanting to put in effort in this area of your life, even if it's making friends, whatever, say yes. So if a friend invites you out, go. If you're invited to a party, go.
Yeah.
This friend that I've been talking so much about on this podcast episode, she was like, I've signed up for singles events. Do you want to come? Do I want to come? Like, I don't know. It sounds kind of awkward and like, but yes, like, I'll accept the opportunity, you know? So I think also just taking that mindset, and actually Shonda Rhimes has a book out, A Year of Yes. And she talks all about the power of saying yes because it really changed her life. And I think it's such an interesting concept and can change your life. Like, it can be very powerful. So if this whole thought intrigues you, regardless if it's in your dating life or another area of your life, you should check out this book because I do think it's a interesting mindset shift, Okay, so people, I hope, are taking notes. And I feel like all of this stuff, again, feels obvious and simple, but I feel like it's maybe things you overlook, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Or maybe don't initially come to mind if you're someone who's just like, but dating apps are the only option. Like, it's not, you know?
Yeah.
So the last thing I wanted to talk about, though, was staying motivated and accountable. Because again, it's like any lifestyle change, routine change, the first question we get asked all the time is, how do you stay motivated and dedicated to this change? So I think a big piece of this on your dating journey, especially since dating burnout is very real and it takes a lot out of you to show up, get ready for these dates, show up, be on, being the best version of yourself. Like, it is exhausting. So there's going to be times where you're going to want to give up. And I think it's good to take breaks and whatever, but staying motivated, here's some tips on how to do that. I think part of the whole journaling session to bring this full circle can also really help you figure out your why, who you're looking for and why you're looking for them.
Yeah.
Why you're, starting out on this hunt for your person or finding your husband, like why? So that, I think once you establish that, can really help motivate you because you always have your reason why. Like, you're never sitting there being like, this is a waste of time. It's like, no, even a bad date makes you one step closer to finding your person. Like, weeding out people who aren't your person puts you a step closer to finding whoever is your person.
Yeah.
So I think that's really important to keep in mind. Actually, I was watching a YouTuber. She's new to me. Her name is Shayla Quinn, I think.
Okay.
And she has a podcast called the Yoga Inspired Podcast. I think, like I said, she's new.
Yeah.
So she's also on TikTok too, but she's in New York and dating. And she had such an interesting chat on her perspective on dating. And it was very much all about, like I was saying, by weeding people out by bad dates or whatever.
Right.
She's like, I view dating as playing the game and not in the sense of it's an actual game, but in
Yeah.
the sense of if you go to a casino
Mhm.
and you're playing a dice game, the more you roll the dice, the higher your chances are of winning.
Right.
The more you pull the slots, you know, maybe
Mhm.
this is like, people are like, actually, no, that's gambling problem.
Yeah. I was going to say statistically your chances aren't better. But it's like if you
don't go at all.
Yeah, if you don't put your coin in the slot machine and pull it, you would never win.
Exactly.
Then your chance would be 0.
And dating's the exact same way, right? Like if you don't actually go on dates,
Yeah.
you're not going to find them,
Yeah.
right? So that was kind of her analogy. And she was saying how also she's not opposed to dating multiple people at once. And
Mhm.
it's because there's over 7 billion people in the world.
Mhm.
In her case, she's in New York, but for us here in Toronto, there's 3 million people in Toronto,
Yeah.
6 million in the GTA when you've taken like your
Yeah.
radius settings on Hinge. And you can't expect to know everybody or get to know everyone
one at a time.
one by one.
Mhm.
Yeah, like that's going to take forever. And I don't know. So I thought that was also good. My therapist also said this. She was cringing while she said it, but she's like, my mom used to say, you'll have to kiss a lot of frogs to find your prince.
Mhm.
But I think that can be what motivates you to stay dating is one bad date doesn't mean they're all going to be bad. You know, it's like you have to continue to put yourself out there, continue rolling the dice, continue kissing your frogs, because eventually you will find them. I think something that's been big on TikTok, at least the single talk that I'm on, is a lot of people also are setting a goal, which we love around here, but how many dates they want to go on a week, a month, that sort of thing. So for me, that really resonated because I'm like, this just sounds like a monthly goal to me. Like, I'm doing this anyway. Sounds great. But a lot of girls were setting like yearly challenges. Like this year, I'm going to go on 1 date a month. This year, I'm going to go on 1 date a week or whatever. And I feel like that too, if you have the goal, you're kind of showing up on these dates just to achieve the goal. And that's your why, you know, like it removes the pressure also of I'm going on this date because this is my husband.
Yeah.
It removes the pressure. It's like, no, I'm just going on this to get out, have fun, meet people. And again, I think that mindset can really help you stay motivated while the goal can help you stay accountable.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. And I think on that too, it's when you're setting that goal, doing what's realistic for you because for instance, going on a date once a week might not be realistic for me when I already have a social life and my routine and whatever.
A podcast and
a podcast, a job. It can be a lot. So I think it's also important to, this sounds great to be like, I'll just set a goal, but take a look at your schedule and see where you can realistically fit it in because you also don't want it to become a side hustle, like part-time job, because dating kind of turns into that quickly, especially if you are getting to know multiple people at once. Like, I don't know. So that's another thing is give yourself grace, but also be realistic with yourself.
Yeah, kind of related to giving yourself grace. I think also it's important to remember that like everyone's experience is going to be different. You just have to like do what's best for you, figure it out, because I think you can be bombarded with like advice that's like opposite to each other. Like you'll find your man when you're not looking. Or it's like, but you only find them when you put in the work. And you're like, those are opposite statements. Like you have to do what's best for you. And that will be when things work out, I think.
Totally. I find the advice of you'll find them when you're not even looking is so interesting because I think that's kind of the underlying theme almost of the getting out in real life piece, because it's like you're technically going out doing things because you want to, right? That's what my friend was mentioning. But you're putting yourself out there to do them. Or sorry, to meet them. Maybe do them.
Maybe.
Who knows? But where it's like you're maybe not looking for them, but you're at least in a position where you can meet them. Like
I feel like the only people who say that are people who are just like misremembering the start of their relationships.
Are liars.
Like, because even I think of my relationship It's like, was I on the prowl for a boyfriend? No. Like, was that my priority? No. But it wasn't like I was like, I'm never dating again, or
Yeah,
I'm not
exactly.
even like,
you have to be open to the
yeah.
experience.
Like, I was still interested in having a boyfriend, even if I wasn't like aggressively pursuing men.
Yeah.
But then now 10 years later, it's like, he landed in my lap and I wasn't even looking. It's like, yeah, but you kind of were. I don't know.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah.
Way to keep it real, Tag. You're
Yeah.
like, these people
I'm
are
calling
actually
this out
Yeah.
right now. Enough of the lies.
so funny. All right, guys. So lots of information, like Tegan said from the beginning,
Yeah.
jam-packed schedule today.
Mhm.
But we had so much fun and we hope you guys did as well. We are also going to make a goal for season 3 to give you guys some more Patreon content. And
Yeah.
part of that is a bonus episode.
Mhm.
So we are doing our first bonus episode all about dating app inspo, where we're going to
Mhm.
answer some of the popular prompts and just talk about the dating app side of things again, but
Yeah.
how to make it work better for you and working, dare I say it, working smarter, not harder. So follow us, subscribe to us on
Yeah.
Patreon. The lowest fee is $2.
Yeah.
So you're going to get a bang for your buck, especially with this bonus episode.
Mhm.
So check it out. We also are on social media. We're always dropping content there as well. So make sure you're checking us out at our Golden 20s, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest. We have Spotify playlists, including a Valentine's Day one.
Yeah.
So check that out. And that's everything for today. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye.